Have you ever walked out of your bathroom after a routine wipe feeling a phantom sting, an itchy heat, or wiping away a strange powdery film, and wondered if your own body was secretly failing you? You probably blamed your diet, your laundry powder, or perhaps some mysterious heat rash. What if the real culprit is not your anatomy at all, but the innocent, hospital white roll of paper hanging on the chrome holder right next to you? Over the next 20 minutes, we are going to tear the pristine packaging off the Australian toilet paper industry and expose what happens between the timber mill and your private parts. You will find out how supermarket giants and multinational pulp cartels systematically re-engineered our daily hygiene to sell us less wood, more harsh synthetic binders, and artificial fragrances that trigger intimate contact dermatitis. I will show you why the plushest three-ply paper in Coles and Woolworths is causing a national epidemic of blocked suburban sewer pipes, and we will crack open the corporate playbook behind shrinkflation that costs everyday Aussie households hundreds of wasted dollars each year. Stick around to the very end of our breakdown, because the most shocking, wildly trusted household icon on the Aussie market, a brand sitting in millions of family homes right now, is guilty of the sneakiest deception of the lot. To understand how we ended up here, you have to realise what toilet paper used to be. Decades ago, Aussie school dunnies were stocked with that terrifying, shiny, grease-proof tracing paper. It was unforgiving, scratchy, and cold, but it had one massive virtue. It was honest, mechanical wood fibre with zero chemical trickery. Modern paper mills realised they could charge 3 times the price if they promised cloud-like softness, pillowy quilts, and snowy purity. Making a natural tree fibre genuinely soft without compromising its physical strength is outrageously expensive. Natural cellulose fibres are rigid, woody tubes. To make them feel like velvet, manufacturers chemically break them down or drown them in chemical softening agents, synthetic debonders, and optical brighteners. Think of virgin wood pulp like raw timber floorboards. If you want raw timber to feel like silk under your bare feet, you either spend days sanding it down with microscopic precision, or you dump a bucket of thick synthetic polymer wax over the top to fake the smoothness. That is precisely what modern commercial tissue manufacturers do. They treat fragile short fiber pulp with quaternary ammonium compounds and silicon-based lotions to create an illusion of softness that washes over your skin. Then comes the visual swindle, that blinding surgical whiteness. Natural wood pulp is naturally beige or muddy brown. To turn it into bright supermarket white, factories historically used elemental chlorine, creating persistent toxic byproducts like dioxins. While modern plants have shifted toward elemental chlorine-free bleaching using chlorine dioxide, the sheets are still routinely dosed with optical brightening agents. These are synthetic chemical dyes that absorb invisible ultraviolet light and re-emit it as visible blue light, tricking your brain into seeing hyperclean white. You are essentially wiping your most delicate, hyperabsorbent mucosal membranes with chemical optical illusionists designed purely for shelf appeal. To hold multiple flimsy layers together without the sheet disintegrating in your fingers, manufacturers press them with heavy mechanical embossing and wet-strength synthetic resins. The result is a sheet that resists dissolving in water, behaving more like a reinforced fabric than flushable paper. When you combine that structural glue with artificial perfumes injected straight into the cardboard core to mask industrial odors, you have a recipe for intimate allergic flare-ups and catastrophic domestic plumbing bills. Now that you know the chemical playbook, let us pull apart the worst offenders sitting on Australian shelves right now. We are kicking off our supermarket countdown at number 8 with Sorbent Silky White, specifically their infused scented lines like hypoallergenic aloe vera and infused core rolls. Sorbent is owned by Solaris Paper and has sat in Australian family dunnies for over 70 years. Generations of Aussies grew up with their clever little silky white adverts. The problem starts when you look past the warm nostalgia and look at what is baked into that cardboard cylinder. Sorbent does not just sell plain paper. They push infused variants marketed as soothing personal care. What many shoppers do not realise is that the synthetic fragrance is often applied straight to the inner cardboard core. Over weeks sitting in a warm, humid Aussie bathroom cupboard, that volatile synthetic perfume migrates directly into the surrounding tissue sheets. When you wipe, you are pressing synthetic aroma chemicals and carrier solvents against the thinnest, most reactive mucosal skin on your entire body. While there is no official clinical study accusing sorbent of causing systemic disease, dermatologists and clinical immunologists across Australia frequently highlight synthetic toilet paper fragrances as an underreported trigger for vulvovaginitis and chronic perianal contact dermatitis. In 2023, independent consumer testing by Choice pointed out that perfumed tissues offer zero hygiene benefit while introducing unnecessary chemical exposure. On the shelf at Woolies or Coles, a pack of sorbent silky white aloe vera will set you back roughly $12 for an 8-pack, working out to around 75 cents per 100 sheets. A steep premium for what is essentially an airborne perfume diffuser rubbing against your private parts. As one Melbourne mother wrote in a widely shared online product review, "Our household suffered weeks of mysterious, uncomfortable stinging down below, and the second we threw out the scented sorbent, the pain vanished overnight." The verdict here is plain. Wrapping industrial perfume in a gentle heritage wrapper is just selling you an intimate rash at luxury prices. Moving on to number 7, Quilton 4-ply Gold. Quilton is manufactured by ABC Tissue Products, an Australian-owned titan that dominates local supermarket aisles under the famous slogan of being the softest and thickest. Quilton Gold is marketed as the absolute king of luxury, boasting 4 thick, heavily embossed plies of virgin pulp. On the finger test, it feels like heavy velvet. In your sewerage pipes, it behaves like an impenetrable felt blanket. To fuse 4 individual layers of tissue so they do not separate in your hand, manufacturers use substantial mechanical pressure and wet-strength bonding agents. Master Plumbers Associations across New South Wales and Victoria regularly warn homeowners that ultra-thick 4-ply papers are a primary cause of domestic drain blockages in suburban homes, particularly older brick homes with legacy earthenware or narrow PVC pipes. In standard dispersion tests conducted by plumbing specialists, standard 2-ply paper breaks down under water agitation within 15 seconds, whereas dense 4-ply sheets remain intact and fibrous after 2 full minutes. You pay around $14 for a 9-pack at Coles, translating to nearly 88 cents per 100 sheets. When that plush wad meets an older S-bend with low-flow modern dual-flush toilets, the flush simply lacks the hydraulic pressure to disperse the synthetic-bound fibres. Sydney drainage specialist Dave Jenkins famously remarked that heavy 4-ply toilet paper is single-handedly funding plumber holiday homes across the country. You are paying a gold-tier price at the checkout, only to invite a $1,000 emergency plumber bill into your bathroom. If you thought ducking into the discount aisle spared you from these issues, think again. Number 6 on our avoid list is ALDI Confidence Scented 3-ply. ALDI built its massive Australian reputation on stripping out brand fluff and delivering German-engineered grocery value. Their private label Confidence range is a massive seller across the country. To cater to shoppers who want a touch of affordable pampering, ALDI introduced versions featuring a fragranced cardboard core, essentially a direct budget-friendly competitor to the scented rolls from premium names like Quilton and Kleenex. The synthetic perfume sits locked inside the cardboard core, steadily off-gassing into the surrounding recycled and virgin blended plies. If you have sensitive skin, eczema, or a compromised skin barrier, the lower price point does not make those aromatic compounds any gentler. The volatile organic compounds used to synthesize artificial botanical scents do not suddenly become organic or hypoallergenic because they cost $4 less at the register. At ALDI, an 8-pack of Confidence Scented sits around $4.50, which seems like a bargain at 35 cents per 100 sheets, but that saving vanishes the moment it triggers chronic burning. A verified ALDI reviewer on Product Review Australia stated bluntly, "Bought the scented Confidence to save a few bucks, but it caused so much irritation across our entire family that we ended up using the rest to clean up pet messes in the garage." Dressing up discount paper with harsh synthetic perfumes is not a budget win. It is just a bargain-priced skin irritant. Speaking of marketing halos that do not survive a close inspection, number 5 is Quilton Eco Plantatree Virgin Pulp range. Quilton is widely recognised as the big one in Australian paper goods, famously manufactured locally by ABC Tissue Products. In response to skyrocketing consumer demand for environmentally responsible household goods, Quilton rolled out targeted green initiatives, promoting packaging featuring leafy badges, recycled plastic wrappers, and tree planting pledges designed to reassure eco-conscious shoppers. While planting native trees is commendable, it is crucial to understand what the product itself actually consists of. The standard Quilton eco-branded toilet roll remains fundamentally a virgin wood pulp product. Virgin pulp means that fresh, living timber is harvested, heavily pulped, chemically digested, and brightened using industrial bleaching agents to deliver that signature ultra-white, pillowy 3-ply sheet. The Forest Stewardship Council certification confirms that the timber is sourced from managed plantations rather than unmonitored old-growth logging, which is genuinely positive. However, critics point out that using freshly pulped timber for a single-use product that is flushed away in seconds remains resource-intensive. Planting a sapling today does not instantly replace the mature biomass harvested to produce the roll in your hand right now. Furthermore, these rolls often carry modest sheet counts per roll compared to high-density alternatives, meaning consumers go through rolls faster than they anticipate. In a market where 100% post-consumer recycled paper and rapidly renewable bamboo alternatives are widely available in Australian supermarkets, relying on virgin forest pulp dressed up in green marketing slogans represents an unnecessary compromise. It is by no means the worst product on the shelf, but the environmental branding creates an impression of absolute sustainability that does not entirely match the reality of virgin pulp manufacturing. Next, we must examine number 4. Kirkland Signature 3-ply bath tissue from Costco, Australia. For Australian bulk buyers, large families and regional shoppers making their monthly trek to Costco warehouses in Casula, Moorabbin, North Lakes or Adelaide, the massive 48-roll bale of Kirkland Signature 3-ply bath tissue is an absolute shopping cart fixture. On pure cost per sheet, the sheer volume and upfront economy make it look unbeatable. However, regular Australian buyers consistently report a very distinct, frustrating drawback: paper lint and airborne cellulose shedding. When you unroll and tear Kirkland Signature sheets, the mechanical friction releases microscopic cellulose fibers into the air. Over days and weeks, this creates a visible layer of white, powdery dust that settles across bathroom vanities, taps, tile grout and skirting boards, what Australian homeowners affectionately term toilet paper dust bunnies. For households with family members suffering from respiratory sensitivities, asthma, or contact allergies, cleaning this persistent powdery residue is a constant nuisance. Additionally, in Australian consumer forums, long-term Costco members have pointed out subtle manufacturing changes, noting occasional batch variations where the inner cardboard core feels wider and the tissue density appears slightly lighter than in past years. While Kirkland Signature tissue is completely dye-free and fragrance-free, which is an important advantage for sensitive skin, the physical shedding and heavy, dense 3-ply structure can cause problems in older domestic plumbing. When you commit to a 48-roll bundle, you are locked into that single product for months on end, leaving you stuck with the dust until the supply is finally exhausted. Now we arrive at number 3. Woolworths Essentials and Coles Everyday Budget 2-ply toilet paper. At the very bottom shelf of the paper aisle sit the generic, no-frills supermarket home brand options: Woolworths Essentials and Coles Everyday. These unpretentious rolls are priced to provide absolute minimum upfront expenditure, making them a common choice for budget-conscious university students, share houses, and families facing severe cost of living pressures. There is nothing toxic or hazardous about these generic papers, but they represent a classic false economy. These budget products are thin, loosely bound 2-ply sheets with minimal surface embossing. Because the individual sheets lack structural absorbency and tear resistance when wet, consumers routinely pull significantly more paper off the roll per visit, bunching and folding multiple layers together to achieve an adequate barrier. This creates 2 immediate problems. First, the friction of rough, low-grade wood fibers against delicate skin can cause micro-chafing, particularly for older Australians whose skin naturally thins over time. Second, pulling triple the number of sheets means a pack disappears far faster than expected. The modest savings achieved at the supermarket register quickly evaporate when you find yourself restocking the cupboard twice as often. Upgrading to a dependable, mid-tier recycled roll or a durable 3-ply option often delivers far better value over a full month while providing substantially greater comfort. This brings us to number 2, Amazon Presto, 3-ply luxury bathroom tissue. With the massive expansion of Amazon Australia fulfillment centres across Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane and Perth, the Amazon Presto brand has become a dominant force in home delivery subscriptions. For elderly Australians, individuals without vehicles, or those with physical mobility challenges, having heavy bulk boxes of toilet paper delivered straight to the front door on an automated monthly schedule is extraordinarily convenient. However, the consumer reality frequently falls short of the luxury descriptor on the packaging. Amazon Presto toilet paper is manufactured to tight cost margins, and Australian customer reviews frequently highlight noticeable inconsistency between production runs. One delivery may feature reasonably soft, intact rolls, while the next order arrives noticeably rougher, thinner, or prone to premature delamination, where the plies separate in your hand during use. This lack of consistency is compounded by the set-and-forget nature of online recurring orders. Many subscribers continue paying for shipments of mediocre, scratchy paper simply because cancelling or modifying the digital subscription takes an extra step they keep putting off. While Amazon Presto contains no harmful hidden chemical additives, paying for an unpredictable product under the banner of luxury undermines the genuine convenience of home delivery. Finally, we arrive at the #1 spot on our cautionary list: Kleenex Complete Clean and the reality of modern shrinkflation. Kleenex is arguably the most recognisable name in Australian hygiene history, an iconic household staple manufactured locally by Kimberly-Clark Australia in South Australia. For decades, the famous Kleenex puppy and comforting advertisements promised generous, cloud-like softness that Australian families trusted implicitly. However, in recent years, Australian consumer watchdogs and eagle-eyed supermarket shoppers have documented substantial shrinkflation across mainstream toilet paper ranges. Standard roll lengths have quietly diminished, individual sheet dimensions have narrowed, and overall sheet counts per roll have seen steady downward revisions across the major brands. At the same time, retail pricing per pack has climbed steadily upward. To regain the roll thickness and longevity that used to be standard, consumers are now directed toward heavily marketed double-length or mega-roll variants at a steep premium. What was once the standard everyday pack size has been repositioned as an upgraded luxury tier, leaving the entry-level regular rolls noticeably smaller and lighter. When long-time buyers also notice that reformulations feel less durable or shed more lint than the sturdy rolls of decades past, that deep-seated brand loyalty begins to feel exploited. You are paying top dollar for heritage branding, but receiving less usable paper than ever before. Right, here comes the part that made watching this far worth it. We have dragged the chemical trickery, the hidden dust traps, the phantom shrinking sheets, and the pipe-clogging marketing ploys out into the harsh Australian daylight. Now it is time to talk about the genuine champions. The rolls that respect your delicate skin, safeguard your domestic plumbing, protect your wallet over the long haul, and leave the planet in a vastly better state. These are the 4 products sitting on Australian supermarket shelves or delivered direct to Aussie front doors that actually earn their spot in your bathroom. We are starting our recommendations with the undisputed everyday hero of local supermarket aisles: Quilton 100% recycled 3-ply toilet tissue. Quilton is an Australian manufacturing titan that needs no introduction, but while their ultra-thick virgin 4-ply rolls cause genuine headaches for domestic pipes, their dedicated 100% recycled range gets the balance spot on. Instead of clear-felling native eucalyptus or importing virgin timber chips from overseas, this paper is milled right here in Australia using clean, post-consumer and pre-consumer recycled paper pulp. It is completely free of added synthetic fragrances, contains no chemical lotions, and undergoes elemental chlorine-free processing to ensure pristine hygiene without toxic dioxin runoff. On the sensory front, it completely demolishes the ancient myth that recycled paper must feel like unyielding, scratchy sandpaper. Thanks to modern mechanical air embossing, this 3-ply sheet delivers a plush, soft surface that cushions delicate tissue without shedding clouds of chalky white lint all over your skirting boards. In water dispersion laboratory tests, it breaks down quickly and cleanly under ordinary flush agitation, making it exceptionally kind to older suburban drainage networks and domestic septic setups. Price-wise, it is an absolute bargain for everyday households. An 8-pack at Woolworths, Coles or your local IGA generally sits between 7 and 8 Australian dollars, translating to roughly 45 cents per 100 sheets. That puts it right on par with heavily processed virgin supermarket brands, proving you do not have to pay an eco-tax to buy a clean, ethical product. It is the perfect, no-nonsense daily driver for family homes, rental properties, and anyone shopping the mainstream aisles who wants an honest, irritation-free wipe without busting their weekly grocery budget. Next up on our honour roll is an Australian trailblazer that proved toilet paper could do serious global good. Who Gives a Crap 100% recycled paper. Founded in Melbourne following an audacious crowdfunding campaign, Who Gives a Crap disrupted the entire stagnant paper goods sector with an unapologetically ethical business model. Every single carton is manufactured from 100% post-consumer recycled office paper and notebooks sourced responsibly, with absolutely zero virgin tree pulp involved. Crucially, they donate a massive 50% of their commercial profits directly to global sanitation charities, funding clean water infrastructure and hygienic toilets across developing communities. This toilet paper is processed completely free of chlorine gas, synthetic inks, artificial dyes, or perfumed cores. Each roll comes individually wrapped in beautifully designed, recyclable paper packaging to keep it hygienic during transit without a single scrap of single-use plastic wrap entering your home. In hand, the three-ply sheets feel remarkably dense, sturdy, and lint-free, offering dependable wet strength without bunching up or tearing prematurely. A standard bulk delivery of 48 double-length rolls costs around $66 shipped directly to your door anywhere in Australia. Because each roll carries a massive 400 sheets, more than double a standard supermarket roll, the actual cost works out to roughly 34 cents per 100 sheets. That makes it significantly cheaper per usable sheet than most big brand supermarket options. The only minor drawback is the bulk order model. You need the cupboard space to store a large carton at once. If you have the storage room, it is an unbeatable, high-yield household investment. Our third recommendation takes us into the rapidly growing bamboo sector with a brand you can find readily at Woolies, Coles, and Chemist Warehouse. The Cheeky Panda 100% Bamboo Toilet Tissue. The Cheeky Panda is manufactured entirely from FSC-certified, organically grown virgin bamboo. Unlike slow-growing hardwood trees that take 30 to 50 years to mature, bamboo is a giant grass that regenerates from its root system within months without chemical fertilizers or pesticide runoff. Bamboo fibers are naturally longer and smoother than wood pulp, resulting in a three-ply sheet with immense tensile strength and a silky, cool texture that feels naturally soothing against sensitive skin. Crucially, bamboo tissue is naturally hypoallergenic and generates virtually zero airborne cellulose dust, making it the premier choice for anyone battling intimate eczema, reactive allergies, or perpetual bathroom dust bunnies. It is whitened using hydrogen peroxide and elemental chlorine-free methods, entirely skipping synthetic perfumes. At roughly $10 to $11 for a 4-pack of jumbo rolls at major supermarkets, it sits at the premium end of the spectrum, averaging around 70 to 75 cents per 100 sheets. But for households prioritizing ultra-low lint, silky comfort, and verified hypoallergenic credentials, that modest price gap pays for itself in sheer peace of mind. Finally, the absolute gold standard for pure domestic luxury and ethical craftsmanship, Pure Planet Club 100% bamboo and sugarcane toilet paper. Proudly Australian-owned and certified as a B Corp, Pure Planet Club represents the pinnacle of sustainable personal care engineering. They blend rapidly renewable bamboo with upcycled bagasse, the fibrous sugarcane residue left behind after sugar extraction that would otherwise be burned as agricultural waste. This innovative combination yields an exceptionally soft triple-ply sheet that feels like tailored linen, while remaining 100% biodegradable and completely safe for delicate marine toilets, RVs, and rural septic tanks. Their rolls contain zero chemical bleaches, zero artificial fragrances, and zero plastic packaging, arriving in elegant paper wrappers. A box of 36 rolls purchased online costs around $58 delivered, which equates to approximately 50 cents per 100 sheets. It is a premium product, but it delivers absolute purity, zero irritation, and peerless environmental credentials without a shred of compromise. If you want the ultimate clean wipe for your family, this is the undisputed champion. Now that you know the true cost of clever marketing and chemical shortcuts, here are 7 golden rules to screenshot before you next set foot in Woolworths, Coles, ALDI, or IGA. First, treat the words fragranced, scented, floral, or soothing lotion on the packaging as an immediate red flag and leave that pack on the shelf. Second, check the unit price tag on the supermarket shelf carefully and compare the price per 100 sheets rather than the total pack cost, because shrinking roll sizes are designed to disguise price hikes. Third, actively search for certified green flags, like 100% post-consumer recycled or FSC certified bamboo, ensuring you are not cutting down native trees for single-use paper. Fourth, make sure the whitening process is explicitly listed as totally chlorine-free or elemental chlorine-free to protect local waterways and sensitive skin from harsh chemical residues. Fifth, stick to durable 2-ply or 3-ply sheets and completely bypass ultra-heavy four-ply varieties if you live in a home with older plumbing or low-flow dual-flush toilets. Sixth, give any fresh pack a quick flex test at home. If a noticeable cloud of white lint drifts into the air, that heavy paper shedding will end up on your skirting boards and irritate delicate skin. Seventh, look for independent certifications like B Corp or Certified Local Australian Recycling credentials to verify that ethical claims are backed by rigorous standards. The toilet paper industry has spent billions convincing everyday Australians that genuine cleanliness requires blinding chemical whiteness, artificial perfumes, and thick, plush layers that choke suburban drains. In reality, the most reliable, hygienic, and skin-friendly wipe comes from simple, unadulterated fibers that do their job honestly and break down effortlessly in water. Once you make that basic mental shift from manufactured luxury to honest composition, you will stop paying a corporate health tax on your own bathroom essentials. Thank you so much for watching and supporting independent consumer journalism. If this investigation opened your eyes or saved you from an expensive plumber call-out, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with a mate or family member who is still buying heavily perfumed toilet rolls. I would love to hear from you down in the comments. Which brand is sitting in your bathroom cupboard right now? And have you noticed the sheets shrinking over the past year? Check out our recent investigation into supermarket laundry detergents on screen right now. Until next time, stay sharp, shop smart, and protect your home.